creation through bomb and form. The greatest to ever do it like Kareem in the form. Or Dame at the buzzer, Skip at the rucker. 96 Bulls, the GOAT, there's no other. Bulls and Goats get some wins, but never cover. The word gave the answer to sin. No stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Behind the Plays. I'm your host, Davion, and I'm all alone. It's only me recording. Eric is sick. Usually when this happens, we skip the Thursday. We end up recording on Friday or Saturday or something to make sure we get an episode out for you guys together. But with the fact that there are 4 total games happening prior to us being able to record, while it also being the week of Thanksgiving, I thought it'd just be better just to give an episode out on my own and make sure we keep up with the consistency that I promised last week. Of course, things happen, and I'm not angry at Eric. Things happen, bro. Just wish him the best. Make sure you give him a nice little get better soon. But with that being said, it's going to be a very short, simple, and easy podcast for me today. I honestly, unless I start rambling, I think 30 minutes of time today is going to be ample time. I'm just going to go through a few games and talk about kind of what are my opinions on some of the standings. I want to go through some playoff clinching scenarios with the games that are happening, and I believe all of them are primetime this week. There are every game that is mattered for a team potentially clinching depends on the primetime games this week. And also a couple bangers that we got going on. But first and foremost, happy Thanksgiving to anyone that celebrates. I know you're watching this. If you're listening to this on Thanksgiving, on your way to your family, I really appreciate that, first and foremost. Secondly, I hope you enjoy the football today. I hope you enjoy your family. And I really just hope you enjoy the good food that you've been blessed with today. So thank you to everybody. I'll be celebrating with my family, and it's just a beautiful day. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite holiday. Because it always reminds me of not only all the things that I've been thankful for in my life, but also it's been one of the big times that my entire family tends to get together. Not as big as Christmas. I would say we get more together Thanksgiving than we have on Christmas in the past. So it's been one of my happier memories with a lot of my family members. So it is definitely a holiday I really am thankful for, and I appreciate. So, and I'm happy to continue the trend. I get to spend with my good, a lot of my close family, which is awesome. I don't get to spend with my mama, because we live in different states now, but, I got to see her the week beforehand. So it was awesome. So enjoy your day. I really hope y'all enjoy it, but let's talk about some football and, an awesome week 12 that we had. I thought there was a lot of craziness. Week 11 brought us the week of the kickers sucking. This week wasn't as bad for kickers. I don't know what happened in week 11 or what was in the air. But we do have some good games, and we'll start with things off. I wanted to talk about a couple of slated games and the things that I got out of them this week. I want to kick things off with the early morning slots. Obviously, Thursday Night Football was great. Browns getting a big win over the Steelers. I thought that was insane. Steelers just couldn't figure it out on offense, but it also was a big ice bowl, and those are always hard to deal with. We flew out on Thursday, and we had delayed so bad because of the snow out of Chicago. So, like, I couldn't even imagine what's going on in Cleveland. It was a little bit. It looked like it was worse than what we got hit with. But Browns the Browns aren't really competing for anything at this point. Being what are they, 3-8 at this point in the season? 3-8. They're after this win. They're not really competing for much. They're sitting at 11. The next best, the team you got to pass up is the Broncos at 7-5 to get to the playoffs. And you still got to get past the Bengals and the Colts, who are above you, plus the Dolphins, who are getting their team back in order. I don't know if it's going to be a possibility for them, but you know what? I respect it. You keep fighting, and you're playing spoiler, right? Because the Ravens picked up a win on Monday night, right? So you're playing spoiler for a couple of these teams. The Chiefs-Panthers game was significantly better than I expected it to be. Bryce Young is finally getting into his groove. Maybe him being benched for those couple of weeks taught him a lot of things and helped him adjust to certain things. But they made trades. They dumped off some people. They fired people. They look great, right? I think they look good going into future. You lost to the Chiefs by 3. At the end of the day, they're all professionals. I picked the Panthers to win this game. I'm sad that they didn't pull it off. It was crazy that they almost did. But you know what? It's Patrick Mahomes and game-winning drives. You know what it is. Vikings-Bears is insane. That game was by far the craziest game this week, and I will die on this hill because the Vikings were up 10 points, like end of game. It was time to go. Bears, however, go in and they score. They get their touchdown, cut it 3, get the onside kick, get the field goal to tie, send to OT, and then just completely shit the bed in overtime. It was terrible. It was so bad. But Caleb Williams is getting into a lot of throws that he feels comfortable with. I think this team is going to be solid next season. I think they need a new coach, though. I think they need a different change in that environment, and maybe get some help on that line. The trenches are something they've needed to work on for a while, and I think this draft is going to be big for them. Titans upset the Texans. I think that was insane as well. Crazy work. I mean, dude, Texans we're just not doing things that I expect. They lost 32-27. Their defense continues to be something that I've been critical on, and I've noticed is what's hindering them, right? They lost to Lions because their defense could not do anything to stop them in the second half, and then their offense couldn't get going. It's like when one's clicking, the other's not, vice versa, blah, blah, blah. It's just issues, and they keep losing these games in close situations because of it. Lions smacking the Colts. Moving on. Dolphins smacked the Patriots. No surprise. Moving on. Bucks snapped the Giants. No surprise. Moving on. Cowboys upset the Commanders in Washington. And I say this is upset. It was a Cooper Rush-led Cowboy team. It was a interesting game. They were weird in control for a little bit this game. The two big things were obviously the 2 kick returns, right? Gave them 14 total points. Special teams was the MVP of this game for the Cowboys and the Commanders, and Jane Daniels are cooling off heavily. Terry McLaurin's not getting the touches I think he deserves, but they almost pulled off another miracle win. Unfortunately, Austin Seibert, I believe that's his name, missed that extra point that would have tied the game, not forcing an onside kick, and yada, yada, yada. So Packers beat I skipped one. I apologize. Broncos beat the Raiders, and I know if Eric were here, he would be screaming for joy. And I would like to really reiterate, and I know he has no hope. It's going to be nerve-wracking getting into the end here. They're a game and a half up on the Dolphins. Right now, the Broncos are playing the Browns, and that is a critical game. Browns losing, I believe, darn near gets them eliminated from playoffs. And then, because then the Broncos have a tiebreaker over them, right? That's big. That tiebreaker is huge. But then you move to 8-5. You're a half a game behind your the Chargers. Chargers are playing a tough-ish opponent this week in the Falcons, right? Another playoff team, a division leader at the moment, right? That's a strong chance for the Broncos to maybe move up. And instead of playing the Bills in the first round, playing the Steelers, who I could see them beating in a first round matchup, right? That's just my opinion. So this is a very critical. Getting this division win is huge. They have a chance to even move up, because if you really, really want to get in the nitty gritty of it, they are 2-2 in the division right now. Chargers are 2-1, right? They still have to, I believe they still have to play the Chiefs. They still have to play the Broncos again and the Raiders, right? So these are all games that they're still playing. Broncos can control their fate and put themselves in a situation where they go to 8 wins. Chargers lose this week. Let's say they go 7-5, right? You're above them now. And now you're going to make it. So the Chargers game is a chance for you to get higher in the seeding, play the Steelers instead of the Bills. Critical. I think that's their better matchup always. And same with the Chargers. I think the Chargers could upset the Steelers, right? I think the Steelers can win a playoff game. Of course, I think they can beat either of those teams for certain, but it's not 100% guarantee at that point for me, because I think you're better chance walking into Pittsburgh and beating the Steelers than you will walking into Buffalo and beating the Bills. That's just my opinion if you're the Broncos or the Chargers at this point. So Broncos get a big win on the road. That was so necessary. I also saw someone got kicked out of the game for breaking the glass at Allegiant. And that's not on him, bro. That's on Allegiant. Allegiant, get your act together, bro. The stadium, Vegas Stadium, is absurd. And it irritates me because I've looked at the tickets. I used to live in Las Vegas, and the tickets are absurd. It's like trying to get as just a normal fan is impossible nowadays. You have to be an elite just to get into fucking games, bro. Let the fans be fans, bro. That's why these environments aren't fun anymore, because the fans don't get to be fans, dude. It's absurd. Anyway. It didn't even do anything. He literally smacked the glass. Like, people do that all the time. They smack things in the stadium. Don't put glass in your stadium if it's going to break off of like one little it's gone. It's shattered. I was like, that's insane work. Niners lose a critical one to the Packers. Brock Purdy didn't play. I'm not holding too much on the Niners here, but losing 38-10 with a defense like theirs is really crazy. Packers are a good team. We know this. So they're keeping pace. Seahawks beat the Cardinals 16-6. Kyler Murray threw an intense pick 6 that I think shifted this game. And the Seahawks take control of this division now, moving up to a 3 seed at 6-5. I mean, they need to keep winning to hold that division. That division is crazy, with the Cardinals being 6-5 as well, along with the Niners and the Rams both being 5-6. Both the Niners and Rams taking L's this week was critical for the Seahawks taking over this division. Sunday Night Football gave us the Eagles Rams. Eagles look phenomenal. Saquon Barkley broke and you guys know I'm an Eagles fan. Saquon Barkley broke the Eagles single game rushing record set by LaShawn McCoy Shady. And bro, dude looked insane. He had like 250 something rushing. Was it 255? It was something insane, right? I'm not crazy. Like I feel like I'm going crazy. It was something like just mathematically did not feel like it was real. And like Puka Nacua, dude. Puka Nacua is insane. He was in situations where Stafford was getting pressured and he'd just make an extended grab. It didn't matter who was guarding him. Slay, Rodgers, Cooper, Quinion. It didn't matter. Puka's insane. 255 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Yes, 26 carries. I mean, dude, he's insane, right? He's insane. Set his career high as well. And I believe this matches his career high in wins at 9. And it's great for him. Eagles are on a 7-game winning streak. They came out of the bye hot after going winning week 1, losing week 2, winning week 3, losing week 4. It looked like a fringe team at this, and now they won 7 straight with a very big grip on the division. They're up 2.5 games on the Commanders now, who are 7-5. They are going to have their bye week next week. Week 14. Yes, the Broncos, Commanders, Ravens, Colts, Patriots, and Texans all get a bye week. Broncos, Commanders, Ravens, finally we'll get there, and then we'll end the season off with the last 4 weeks of the season. So, I mean, this is huge. The Eagles get their biggest, I think that was one of their biggest tests, and I said this going into the week 11, that you need to go over the next 4 weeks. You need to come out 3-1. They're 2-0, and that's huge. You get the Ravens on the road, then you finally come home, and you play the Panthers. You get out of that stretch. From week 10, 3-1. So they've already met their goal. They beat the Cowboys on the road. They beat the Commanders at home, and then they beat the Rams on the road on Sunday Night Football. They get another game on Sunday against the Ravens, which is a big one. And then your rest of your season feels a little bit better. You get the Panthers at home. You head I believe you head on the road to play week 15. No, home against the Steelers is a big one. That's going to be a good game. Then you're on the road against the Commanders. And then you're at home against the Giants. And then at home again. Oh, no. At home against the Eagles. At home against the Giants. So, like, these last 3 weeks are all division games. I mean, you get it's Ravens, Panthers, Steelers. Those games are huge. I mean, Saquon Barkley should be the MVP candidate leader, and I will die on this hill right now. He is playing out of his mind. Josh Allen deserves it too. I think both players are doing insane work. In that second seed looking great. The Eagles are going to be tested this week. They're going to be tested heavily this week against the Ravens. Ravens have an insane defense. The best running backs in the league are going up against each other 1 and 2 in rushing yards. And the Ravens haven't even had their bye week yet, but the Eagles have. Dude, Saquon leading the league in rushing is insane. Like, come on, man. But the Rams put up 20, right? We expected this type of situation. And the Eagles just look good all throughout this game. They gave up, I think they gave up a touchdown early, but then they got together, did their thing. Biggest news coming out of this game is Brandon Graham going down for the season with a tricep tear. He's one of the best defensive ends in Eagles history, and it's sad to see him go out that way. And I hope that he, I would love to have him back for one more year, run it back one more season. But it was potentially his last year, and that might have been the last game we ever saw in an Eagles jersey. And he looked phenomenal. So that is sad to see. But we love BG, and I hope he has a very speedy recovery. We are going to miss him intently for sure. Next, the Ravens on Monday Night Football played the Chargers and looked great. Both teams looked good. Chargers just couldn't get it done late. The Harbaugh Bowl is just beautiful. Ravens get a big win, and they inch closer because, again, the Steelers lost. They lost. They're going to rely on a lot. The Eagles are playing spoilers to potentially both these teams. The Ravens and the Steelers are both getting played the 2 out of the next 3 weeks. The Steelers do go on the road to play the Bengals this week. That's an insanely big game for the AFC North, especially for the Steelers. And the Bengals' playoff hopes have to stay alive with this game. And, of course, they play the Browns the following week, who they just lost to. So it's going to be those next couple weeks for the Steelers are huge. For the Ravens, they play the Eagles this week. They get the bye week. They're going to look at that Bengals-Browns games intently to see if they can take over that division after that Eagles game and go from there. Because then they're going to look at Eagles playing the Steelers, and then they get the Giants. So that's a lot to work off there. The North is heating up AFC-wise. It's a close division. It's a 2-man race. And it's just how it is, right? 8-3, 8-4. It's getting real close. The other division I'm looking at is potentially the South, right? I mean, the AFC South. I don't think the Colts are good enough. I think the Texans should just win this division. But we really need to look at the fact that they're only 2 games behind. The Texans are losing games that they shouldn't be losing. They just lost to the Titans this week, right? I mean, Eagles, they're similar situation. They're only 2.5 games up on their division. That could change in a heartbeat. Lose to the Ravens. They have to play the Commanders still. Lose to the Steelers, right? Those are hard games. So we'll see how that works. And I have no clue what's going on in the NFC North, right? The Vikings, Packers are relying on the Lions to like get beat somewhere. And they look like they're not going anywhere. The South, every division in the NFC just feels weird. Like close, and it's like 2 games can swing this division the other way. Like anybody, the West is up for grabs. Anyone in the West can win that division. 6-5, 2 6-5 teams, 2 5-6 teams, 3 teams with 2 wins in the division. Like any team could win that division. Same with the South, right? I think the Falcons pretty much should have this almost locked up. The issue becomes though is that they're only a game ahead of the Bucks, but they hold tiebreakers over everybody. So that's the big deal. They're 4-1, right? Their only loss I think came to the Saints, and I mean that's nothing, right? You got to win your last divisional game, which clinches everything for you. Actually, no, they should have it all wrapped up now because, yeah, they have it all wrapped up now because the Saints can't pass them for the division. So they need teams to lose. They need them to lose more than they win. That's all it is. All right. Ooh, we just got what? Ooh, after limited practice time this week, Monty and Amon-Ra are questionable for Thanksgiving. That's huge. That's huge for the Bears. Could be huge for the Bears. We'll see. All right. Let's talk about a couple things. I want to talk about playoff clinching scenarios this week. Because it's somehow magically we're already at this point. There are 3 teams that can clinch a playoff spot. Those 3 teams being the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Detroit Lions. The Buffalo Bills play the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday Night Football this week. And they could clinch the AFC East divisional title with a win and a Miami loss. Simple as that. Miami loses to, who do they play this week? Miami losing to Packers on Thanksgiving means that the Sunday Night Football, the Bills could clinch. That's all it is. For the Chiefs, there's a couple of scenarios in which they are clinching. They play the Raiders on Friday, the Black Friday Prime video game, which I think they should win. In any scenario that they win and Miami loses or ties, their playoff berth is clinched. If Kansas City wins and Denver loses, they're clinched. If Kansas City wins, the Chargers lose and Denver ties, they clinch. And then if they end up tying their game and Miami loses, they're in. So both of the AFC teams are looking at Miami very intently because if both of them lose, if Miami loses, both the Chiefs and the Bills win, both are in this. They are in the playoffs, clinched. Bills will have an AFC title berth already, the AFC East title. So that means they will host a playoff game, which is huge. Now for Detroit, there's a lot of scenarios. Like it's insane. So basically what they need is a combination of any combination of San Francisco, Arizona, Seattle, Tampa Bay, Washington, and Atlanta. Any of those like 6 teams, if they go into loss, tie scenarios with a Detroit win, they are officially clinched the playoff berth, right? They need San Francisco to lose or tie. Arizona, they need San Francisco, Arizona, okay, hold on. I'm gonna go through all 6 scenarios. First scenario, Detroit wins. San Francisco needs to lose, lose or tie. Arizona loses or ties. Tampa Bay loses or ties, and Seattle loses. They're in. Second, win, same scenario. San Francisco loses or ties. Tampa Bay loses or ties. Arizona loss plus Seattle loss. Plus Seattle tie. They're in. Detroit win plus, again, San Francisco loss or tie. Arizona loss or tie. Washington loss or tie. Seattle loses. Atlanta loses. They're in. They clinch. San Francisco loss or tie. Arizona loss or tie. Seattle loss. Washington loss. Atlanta tie. They're in. It's crazy all the ties. So all of these revolve around San Francisco losing or tying. Arizona losing. Seattle tie. Washington loss or tie plus Atlanta loss is in, and then same scenario except if Washington loses and Atlanta ties, they're in. So it's like some things flip back and forth. So there's a lot there, but there's a chance that they could lock things up pretty much this week on Sunday. because they wouldn't. Yeah, Sunday, because Monday doesn't matter. So they win this week. Sunday looks different. If Amon-Ra and Monty don't play, I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is great, but that's a very interesting game now for the Bears on Thanksgiving. So we'll see. I really wanted to do a draft this week and wanted to talk about some other things. But unfortunately, with no Eric, I really don't want to make those happen. But I hope you guys enjoy our Thanksgiving food. That was what we were going to draft this week. I thought it would have been really fun. But let's do some pick'ems, and I'll get you guys out of here for just a quick podcast episode. Like I said, I'll go through each game. I have Eric's Preddies right here. He did send them to me. We have a couple things different, not very many. But to kind of catch you guys up on what happened week 12, I went 7-6. Eric went 9-4. So Eric is 2 games up on me, with a chance to strengthen that lead this week. Kicking things off, the triple header on Thanksgiving Day. Thursday, Bears at Lions. Both Eric and I took the Lions. I think that's self-explanatory. I think the Bears are a worse team than the Lions, unfortunately, and it's in Detroit. The Lions are used to losing on Thanksgiving, but I don't think they're going to make it this year. A couple years ago, I remember that the Bears beat the Lions on Thanksgiving, and it was close. So it should be, if this game is close, it's going to be fun. I'm excited. We live in Chicago, so I know a lot of people it's going to ruin their Thanksgiving. Hopefully it's not too bad. Next up is Giants at Cowboys. Both of us took the Cowboys, I think for obvious reasons. The Cowboys found a little bit of a groove against Washington, and maybe they could capitalize on that with CD and Turpin doing some big things. And the Giants are just not a good football team. They also are having Drew Lock play. Tommy DeVito is out. Dolphins at Packers. This was a toss-up. I think the Dolphins are finally starting to find their groove, and I believe that the Packers are the better team. Eric did take the Packers. I'm going to take the Dolphins this week. I think that the Dolphins are finding their groove, and if they want to keep pace with this is a big win. I think the Packers are in the mindset, too, that they can win the division if they keep winning. At home is going to be tough, but I really think the Dolphins play. Funny that 3 out of the 4 teams from the NFC North play on Thanksgiving. That's crazy work. It's always the Cowboys, Lions, insert extra game here. So Friday, we have the Black Friday game. I think it's really cool that they have it on Amazon Prime. I mean, it's whatever. The Raiders aren't good. The Chiefs are good. We're both taking the Chiefs. I think that was self-explanatory. Chargers at Falcons is a tough one because the Falcons are coming off a bye week. Chargers are coming off a little bit of a short week with the Monday night game. Eric did go ahead and take the Chargers. I went ahead and take the Falcons. Eric, I feel like would say, I don't take the Falcons and the Chargers are a better team. Give me the Chargers. And I'm going to go, I think the Falcons coming off a bye week is smart. I think this is a big rest week for them, and they needed to get healthy and get back into groove. I think the Chargers, after what I saw from Derrick Henry against the Ravens, the running backs total, I think that we could see some crazy things happen with Atlanta and Bijan Robinson plus Tyler Algier. It's Tyler Algier. I think that's his name. Tyler Algier? Yeah, Algier. I think those are 2 guys that can make this happen. It's not in SoFi. It's in Atlanta, so that makes me pick them. Steelers at Bengals. Both of us actually went with the Bengals this week. Bengals are coming off a bye week, and Steelers had a really tough loss on the road, and I think their offense is going to have to try to keep pace, and that's going to be really hard. So we both took the Bengals. Texans at Jaguars. Both of us went to take the Texans. I think their last few losses have been flukes. I mean, they're just tough losses. I think they're going to go ahead and win this game against Jacksonville and try to solidify this division. Next up is the Cardinals at Vikings. I mean, we think the Cardinals are solid. We do. I think they have chances. I think what I saw from them against the Seattle Seahawks, though, is what makes it really hard to pick them and want to pick them. Plus, the Vikings are a 9-win team. So we're going to go with the Vikings this week. Both of us did decide to go that way. Next up is Colts and Patriots. Eric went ahead and took Patriots. He thinks the Patriots are a better team than the Colts. I think the Colts are looking a little lax, a little weird, and a little bad. And it's a little frustrating to watch that. But then I also look at who they've played recently, right? They've played the Lions, right? They played the Jets. Oh, the Jets looked really good that week. But all in all, I truly think that the Colts are going to pull out this game. I don't think the Patriots are good, and I think they're trying to get a higher draft pick. That's just my opinion. Seahawks at Jets. We both took Seahawks. Seahawks are cooking right now. They're getting hot at the right time to try to win this division and actually get into the playoffs, right? That's how it is. It should be a good one. The Jets aren't as good, and I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is playing. I don't know what's going on with him. There's weird things coming out of the Jets staff and all that stuff, so hopefully they're all good. Titans play the Commanders. We both play the Commanders. We think they bounce back this week. They've lost 3 straight, if I'm not mistaken. They lost to the Steelers. They lost to the Eagles, and then they lost this week to the Cowboys. They need this win. If they don't beat the Titans, then I'm never taking them serious ever again. That's my opinion. Bucks at Panthers. I wanted to take the Panthers this week, but I couldn't willingly do it. I think the Bucks are just cooking now. Mike Evans is back, and I think they're ready to rock. So give me the Bucks to keep winning and try to take over this division. They're rooting for the Chargers to beat Atlanta this week for sure, to get them tied and try to take over that division soon. Rams at Saints. I think the Rams bounce back. I think this is a big bounce back week for them. They need this. Their offense is really good, and I don't think the Saints are good enough to beat them. So I'm going to go with the Rams. Eric thinks otherwise. Eric goes with the Saints, and I think for the opposite reasons, right? I think he thinks the Saints are coming off a bye week. Rams are looking a little rough. They are 5-6. Saints have been good since Carr has been back. So I understand it for sure. I personally think it's Ram. Eric goes Saints. Rock and roll. Next up is Eagles at Ravens, which is my title of game of the week. There's no doubt in my mind. Now, if you would have talked to me 7 weeks ago, we probably would have said Niners Bills. Today, Eagles Ravens is game of the week, and I will die on this hill. This is an insane matchup. Number 1 running back versus number 2 running back in rushing yards. I mean, they look explosive. New teams, Derrick Henry versus Saquon Barkley. These defenses have looked great. The quarterbacks have looked great. Everything has looked great, and this is just textbook banger of a matchup in Baltimore. I can't willingly pick against my birds. I'm going Eagles. He's going to go with the darker version. He's going to go with the Ravens. It's going to be a banger. There's no wrong answer here. I think this is a fun matchup. I think he also, he thinks both teams are phenomenal. I know for a fact that Eric knows the Eagles are good. They've won 7 straight. He knows the Ravens are good. We've seen what they can do, but he's given the edge to Baltimore because it is in Baltimore. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I knew that. I will give the edge to the Eagles only because of a little bit of a short week, right? Eagles did play Sunday Night Football, but the Ravens did play Monday Night Football. And I think that extra little bit, especially both teams coming from SoFi, matters a ton. Trust me, that matters a lot. Niners at Bills. We're both going Bills. We think the Niners are kind of unfortunately cooked this season. And I really do. It sucks to say it, but I don't think they're going to do anything now. And I think we might have, if they could maybe squeak into the 7th seed, potentially if the Commanders keep fumbling the bag. But it's going to be really rough. I mean, they can still win their division, right? It's still close. You never know. They just got to get an invite to the dance. If everyone's healthy when they get into the dance, that's a tough team to beat. I'll tell you that much. Browns at Broncos. We're both taking the Broncos. I think we can't willingly pick them to beat the Browns to beat them. I think if the snow's not on their side, they ain't doing much. They ain't doing it. So give us Denver. So yeah, real quick run back. I'm going with the Lions, Cowboys, Dolphins, Chiefs, Falcons, Bengals, Texans, Vikings, Colts, Seahawks, Commanders, Buccaneers, Rams, Eagles, Bills, Broncos. And Eric is going with Lions, Cowboys, Packers, Chiefs, Chargers, Bengals, Texans, Vikings, Patriots, Seahawks, Commanders, Buccaneers, Saints, Ravens, Bills, Broncos. So we switched on Rams, Rams, Saints, Eagles, Ravens. I believe it was Packers, Dolphins, Colts, Patriots. There's one more, I think. And Chargers, Falcons. So we have 5 different this week. This should be a fun week. See how it goes. And honestly, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm sorry for the weird podcast episode. It's just me. Just talking a little bit about football and trying to enjoy it. I really am excited for what these playoffs are going to bring. I mean, there's a lot of cool things that we look at story-wise that we can get. And honestly, if we're looking at what the schedule looks like now, I mean, Commanders at Eagles could be fun. Seahawks taking on the Packers is a fun matchup for sure. I believe they played in an NFC Championship game where the Seahawks went to the Super Bowl from an OT Javon Curse catch. I can't remember his name. It was OT for sure, and that was a banger of a game. So that would be fun to watch. Packers and Seahawks. Vikings and Falcons is weird because I feel like it's the Kirk Cousins Bowl, right? This is Kirk Cousins taking on his former team, but the Vikings don't win playoff games. The Falcons don't win playoff games. It feels weird looking at that. And then the Lions awaiting a winner from those is crazy because we could end up seeing Lions, Packers, Eagles versus Vikings, and we know how Eagles Vikings goes. So it'd be, or Eagles Falcons, who we've seen those for sure. I think those would be really fun matchups. I'm excited to see it. I mean, the other side of the coin, right? Broncos heading to Buffalo, tough. But seeing the Broncos make the playoffs for the first time since 2016 would be awesome. Chargers taking on the Steelers. We love that. Ravens, potentially Chargers Ravens will be crazy in the first round if the Steelers can get passed up. And then Texans Ravens. I mean, everything here just feels fun for football wise. So I'm excited to see what these teams bring, and I'm excited to see the playoffs soon. I mean, we're at week 13. We got 6 more weeks of football left. It should be a game. It should be a banger. Should be a great end of the season. Try to keep this around 30 minutes. Looks like I kept it around 30 minutes. And I'll catch you guys next time on the podcast. My name is Davion, and this is Behind the Plays, and I'm out of here. Peace. And for Eric, see ya.